Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to do another update for Australia for the next week to 10 days. And for the past few updates I've been talking about another system potentially development in the Western Australia for next weekend, and that looks like it could verify. I've just looked at the recent runs, especially the GFS, and it's starting to really develop it, and this could be on next named Storm, and I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to probably a category 2 or cat 3 on the Australian scale. But as I said, it's far out, so it could fluctuate, and it could be weaker than that, or it could be stronger. It just depends on a load of factors. But as as I'm going to show you here, with the GFS here, as we're going into the weekend, next weekend, it's starting to develop here, and then as we go into the following week, it starts to really develop off the coast of Australia, and look what it goes to, 960 millibars off the coast of Western Australia for the following week on the 9th of April. This has been a recurring thing. I've been flagging this up for days now. But when it was coming up in the 300-hour range, I was on keep on emphasizing how good the GFS is picking up little systems, but what's not good at is getting the intensity right. But it's very good at picking up systems in the far future in the normally verify, but it just depends on how strong, because the GFS isn't, as I said, isn't as good at forecasting the strength, but it's good at picking out features in the longer range. And then it does weaken before landfall, it looks like, but it just depends really. So I could say that if that was to come off, we could definitely see probably a category 3 landfall on the Australian scale. And that's kind of where Veronica made landfall, in that kind of similar area. And if I show you here the GFS 500 millibar geopotential height, this is basically to do with high pressure and low pressure. So the darker the red, the more high pressure, and the more blue it is, and the more purple it is, and green, the more low pressure. So as we're going into the weekend, when the system starts to develop, there's more high pressure towards the east of the system, so it can't go east obviously, and seems to be slightly more high pressure, just kind of starting to come around the western side. It's not pressuring it enough to make it a sharp turn, so it can't go anywhere, but it's enough to try to force it down. And then obviously it makes a landfall in Australia, and then obviously the high pressure just topples it. Well, it makes the system topple inland, and then it just starts to dissipate, and then there's this little tiny system that won't flag that up yet. And what's very interesting is with the ECM. In my last update yesterday, I did say, because it was just going west at the time, and I did say based on the 500 millibar geopotential heights, I did flag up the potential for potentially going south, because I was showing you there was a bit more high pressure here, and then I was saying if we could go on further, I could make it more of a southerly turn. And unfortunately, this is what the latest run's showing. If you go on the latest run here, it goes from here, and then it starts to make more of a south, it's just making more of a southerly turn, and that's obviously bad news. And if it carries on the way it does, it will clip the western side of Australia, and it just all depends on how strong this high pressure is around the system. But this is making it a pretty intense system as well, to 961 millibars, so pretty intense. To be honest, we could definitely see category 2 to category 3 wins on an Australian scale, but it just depends on how strong it gets. And very quickly, sorry, I forgot to flag it up. We could look at what the wind shear's looking like. So the wind shear, obviously, it looks like you could be thinking, wow, the wind shear's in the 30s and all that. It can't develop, but we have to kind of look past this. It is hurricanes and cyclones and typhoons create their own wind shear, so you have to be very careful of what it's actually gonna be like. So it's quite hard to pick out what the actual wind shear is, but what I can say is there is a slither pocket there, and you have to kind of look into that more. So from what I can say, the wind shear is definitely between 7.5 and 12, so between low to moderate, what I can say. So it looks like it's definitely got a lot of favorability here to form. And if I can find it, we're going to look at the relative humidity. So obviously, as I mentioned in the last video, the darker it is, so the more brown, the more dry air, the more green, it's more moist. Well, the atmosphere is more moist. So as you can see here, it's got no problems of like dry air really coming in until towards the end of the run. It looks like dry air tries to make intrusions, but like that's what could hinder it from like developing more on like before just before it makes landfall. That's why it could be weakening. But obviously it could like cause it just depends on like the system. Like some systems are very good at like just keeping the dry air out, but some systems are not really good at keeping it out, and then like just a tiny bit of dry air can just like make a system just like really drop down in categories. So it just depends. But and like as that's saying here, it definitely looks like we're gonna get a cyclone for next weekend. How intense? I'm not sure. I would say between a category 1 to maybe a cat 4 on Australian scale. It just depends really. Looks like dry air is not going to be a problem maybe until landfall, but we're just going to have to see on that. Wind shear looks not the greatest, but it does look enough that it can develop. So we're just going to have to wait and see. And if we look at the sea surface temperature anomalies on like average between 1981 and the 2010 climatology, so basically between 1981 and 2010, so the average between them years, and it's comparing the sea surface temperatures now to them years on average. So the Gulf of Carpentaria here is definitely trying to recover, but the coastline is still not the greatest in that. Because obviously Trevor, like when I was in like the Gulf of Carpentaria and the coastline, it was thinking about a lot of heat content, and that's like made it like really struggling at the moment, but it is starting to recover. And even where Veronica was on the on like, the coastline, you can't see it's trying to sort itself out. It's it looks like it's starting to get warmer now, like between 0.4 to 0.8 degrees. And if you look at actual sea surface temperature anomalies here, you can definitely see it's starting to recover on the coastline. It's like 31 to 32 degrees, and even here it's like 29 to 30. And the Gulf of Carpentaria is still very warm, between like 30 to 28 degrees. So the sea surface temperatures isn't a problem. Wind shear for this next system on the western side of Australia doesn't look too much of a problem. Relative humidity doesn't look too bad until landfall, potentially of slight dry air intrusion, but we're just going to have to wait and see on that. And we could see another cyclone on our hands here. At everything, we could get another named storm, potentially Cat 2, Cat 3 on our hands, maybe higher. It just depends on how it forms out. But yeah, guys, if you're in Australia, we're going to definitely have to keep an eye on this system, because it looks like it's going to definitely form, but where it's going to go, it's uncertain, because the ECM is trying to make more of a southerly turn towards this kind of area, but the TFS is more here. So if you're anywhere between here and all the way down towards the western side, or like all along here, you're definitely going to have to keep an eye on the forecast, because it could easily make landfall, and the sea surface temperatures are definitely warm enough. Okay guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you really enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, turn on the post notifications so you don't miss another upload. And yeah guys, it's definitely looks like we could get another cyclone on the way for next weekend. We're just going to have to keep an eye on it here. The sea surface temperatures, like where it's first going to develop, it looks like it's definitely like warm enough, and obviously all the way to landfall looks warm enough. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on it, guys. So yeah guys, I hope you liked the video. Please like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll be back tomorrow.